growing up, my dad used to leave me little poems on the counter. And half the time they didn't make sense, but they always rhymed. So, just bear with me. I did this at 4 o'clock in the morning the other day because I couldn't.
You want to sit here,
I'm
Ron?
going to go on the inside here so I can face everybody. Okay. Uncle Ed was born on November 1st, 1931. His parents must have been so proud as the fun had just begun. He lived a normal childhood for the most part, yet his 2 beautiful sisters, Mary and Madeline, some healthy wisdom they did impart. Growing up, school and chores were part of his everyday routine, until the army came a-knocking. Boy, that was mean. He served his time honorably, of this we all know to be true. For if we cut his heart open, it would bleed surely red, white, and blue. Uncle Ed took Aunt Kathleen to be his blushing bride. You could clearly see the joy in his face to have her by his side. To have and to hold from this day forward, in good times and in bad. Dear God, man, did I hear you say 7 children they had? So, Kathy, Eddie, Lorraine, and Timmy began the Nugent Brigade, followed by Jen, Michael, and Christopher. Yes, that's what I said. So many kids, so little time, but let me tell you this. With all the games, school functions, sacraments, there were very few he missed. As time went on, most of the kids took a loving spouse. Ray, Gina, Noreen, Dave, Michelle, and Gina, each, and bought a house. We have all made a comment or two about living in the Nugent compound. But come on, really, how blessed is Uncle Ed to have you all around? Especially as the family grows, literally minute by minute. The grandkids have just taken over. Let me tell you who is in it. There's Monica and Lou, who gifted us with those dollies, Maeve and Avery. Let's add her brother Ray and Amy with delicious Callum, who is quite savory. Now, Gabby and Emily are 2 strong, independent beauties, but this you already know. Then the next 4, let me tell you, are just another part of this show. Casey and Mike have been blessed with squeezable Miss Peyton. Travis and Tabitha are newly engaged. Boy, we've been patiently waiting. Noreen is a California babe working hard way out west, while young Eddie is at college playing sports and doing his best. Madison is loving and working the California scene, while Michaela and Alex are still hitting the books and living the educational dream. Paige is a great athlete, but is more about college now. And Logan, well, he may be off to college soon. Holy cow. Carly and Sydney can be matched by no others, as they are the cheerleading queens, while Brody and Griffin are strong, tough, and ready, taking their sports to the extremes. Now let's not forget about Lorraine, who is not married and has no kids, but her kind, caring, loving, hard-working personality blows off all of our lids. Aunt Kat and my mom were the closest sisters from birth, and when they were together, there was always lots of mirth. When Uncle Ed and my dad would sit down for some serious chats, it usually involved some tales of pigskins and probably some bats. The Giants were staples in both of our homes, and if you didn't like them, well, let's leave that alone. Mayapack leaves some of us with tons of fond memories, while others may remember the old well, the bees, and many skinned knees. Uncle Ed, Aunt Kat, Uncle Tommy, and Aunt Patsy, my mom and my dad, all went to Ireland, and the best time was had. Those memories of travel to their ancestral land, called the Emerald Isle, would leave indelible marks that could only make them smile. Our families have been close through all of these years. We have shared Christmases, barbecues, weddings, and yes, lots of tears. We have loved many and we have lost many, but in the bitter end, our hearts are always beating as one, and eventually they do mend. Uncle Ed, too, has suffered many losses in his long life, but none were so great. When God took his lovey, his wife. Aunt Kat was his true heart and soul. No one could ever replace that role. Life, of course, will go on, for sadly she is missed. However, her attributes would be as long as her library list. But today is a celebration of a man who is well-lived, 90 years to be accurate, Uncle Ed, and no more could one man give. Happy birthday to a man we all aspire to be. Happy birthday to a man who loves all of we. I am no poet, as you can see, but this is my way of thanking thee. My dad taught me the wit of prose, but I hope by the end of this you're not holding your nose. There are only 2 phrases left that really speak from my heart. As my Uncle Ed would say, make this PDQ, and hey, EDY. I love you, Uncle Ed. Happy birthday.
You have to throw the bees in, you know how much trouble to you. Happy birthday, dear Gramps and Raine. Happy birthday to you. Yay.
You gonna help them blow? You gonna blow?
People next door are probably sorry they moved into the house.
Well, I think they just called the fire department.
All right, Harry, gonna help you blow too?